All right, guys, thank you again for joining us on another episode. Today we have another guest appearance. We got my homie Enrique. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up? I'm Enrique. I've haven't competed in MMA, but I've competed in both boxing and jiu-jitsu. I've trained in MMA as well at the Red Hawk Academy for quite some time now, so I have a pretty decent understanding on mixed martial arts as a whole. Um, Trying to compete once again. Trying to fight again. Just came off of back-to-back injuries off of my wrist and my knuckles, so that's kind of been withholding any ongoing competitions, but hopefully soon we can get back in there.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Do you guys want to go straight into the UFC 308?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
let's get
down.
into it.
All right, let's
So
see.
we'll skim through the beginning fights because they're pretty early where we were. Um, I know some of us didn't see these. I think I started watching around the Magomedov versus Bruno fight. Um, yeah, so surprising sub by Magomedov. I was not expecting that. Um, you guys familiar with either of these guys?
I know a
I
bus
know.
has fought. Um, I know a bus has fought Sean Strickland, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Sean Strickland made pretty quick work of him, but besides that fight, I think he was pretty under the radar.
For sure. I mean, he was kind of a sleeper going into this fight. I thought Bruno would make quick work of him too, kind of like Strickland did, but Abus kind of proved me wrong. And he actually ended up getting a sub in that third round, which was pretty cool. But let's go to this fight. Was crazy. Do you guys know who Orolbai is?
But you were telling me last time that he's pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like the most athletic guy or anything, but he's just a dog, man. So this
You said they call him
fight,
the caveman.
yeah. I mean, if you just take a look at him, he just looks kind of like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but a lot of people kind of meme on him for how he looks. But nonetheless, man, this guy's a savage. So Rebecca, I slept on Rebecca. I know he's good, but he actually came out and won the first round, I think, and then and Orlby was like a pretty big favorite, 3-1, and
Was
Rebecca
it
came out.
mainly striking?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was pretty much all striking. I mean, they mixed in like I don't think like any crazy takedowns, but yeah, it was mostly striking. Um, this profile picture doesn't really do Rebecca justice because he looked like he was kind of roided out, like super,
Oh.
super jacked. Like his shoulders were sticking on shit, but he had so much power in oral by. Did you guys see any pictures of oral by his eye? It was really bad.
Nah. Oh,
Is that the
I
one
heard they
that
don't.
was just super swollen, and they said they thought it was an orbital fracture, but it turns out it was just something muscular?
Yeah, yeah, it looked like one of those like hematomas or whatever you call them, like just swelled up like crazy. I thought it was a fracture too, but I mean, his eye, the size of that thing was like twice the size of like a normal eye. It was just insane. And then somehow they did like the two finger thing, and they hold the fingers, and he immediately said it out loud, so they let him fight. But yeah, it was crazy. So he had him hurt pretty bad, and then Orlby never gave up. And I think there was a round where it looked like Orlby was just dead, like almost out, basically out. And I think the commentators were tweaking. They're like, "Stop the fight, stop the fight." But the ref never stopped it, and then Orlby like actually rallied that round. And I think if it went to a fourth round, I think Orlby could have. I don't know if he would have finished him, but he probably would have won that fourth round because Rebecca was beat. Like he had no energy left. So that was probably fight of the night for me, low key.
That I
Yeah.
think I think that's always a tricky one, trying to figure out when exactly to stop a fight and when it's he could keep going. That's kind of especially when he was looking how he was looking. I mean,
Yeah,
man, I could see both point of views because, like you said, he did rally back. But I mean, at what point is it just you got to take care of the fighter? You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I guess that's why they have those doctor stoppages where they do the eye exam, see how his visuals is. And I guess he said the right answer right away, right? He didn't
Yeah.
hesitate.
Yeah, so yeah, I saw the picture afterwards. It was kind of funny. Like the ref, the doctor is supposed to like cover one eye up and then hold the fingers, and you could from the camera view you could see the doctor's hand was like not covering the left eye, and he could
Mhm.
just look over with his good eye, and he finally just saw the finger. I thought that was funny.
I know I heard people be cheating those sometimes. Like they
Bro,
have
he's
Oh
like a
telling you
yeah.
the
corner view.
The Brian Ortega one with Herb Dean when he's like 1, 2, 3. He's like, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he gave him like four tries, and he's like, "All right, you got the
Yeah, he's
left."
like, yeah, he got it.
Yeah. Um. So yeah,
Dang.
this next fight, Jeff Neal versus RDA. I mean that should have been a long 3 rounder. I would have figured, but um, man,
Already got injured,
RDA's,
right?
yeah, it was tough to see.
He's he's older, man. He's up there with in age. He been time in the octagon, and he's up there.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. We were just saying last when we were doing the predictions that he was a veteran. He's been around for a long ass time. What
But
was it like a meniscus? It's like bone on bone or something like that, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it definitely looked like some sort of muscular, like I don't know how you would phrase it, like
I thought it was
hyperextension
like a
or
knee.
like
It was a knee injury, right?
yeah, it was definitely the knee. I could see it like when he took it a step back, it looked like something just gave out, like something slipped or gave out, and he just fell over, and basically it was over after that. I mean, he didn't like knock him out, but obviously he couldn't defend himself. So, but yeah, I
What do you
mean,
guys think about that? What do you guys think about those fighters that are like older and they have a bunch of injuries? You think they should just hang it up or
I
just
mean,
kind of
yeah,
keep
but
going?
when this is what you've done for your entire life, it's kind of hard to find like what else is going to be their purpose if they haven't done. I mean, if you've been fighting since you were like 8 years old, right? Let's just say you've been wrestling your whole life, and then you go into mixed martial arts, you start doing this. Now you're what, 35, 36, creeping on 40. You're someone like Yoel Romero, right? You're halfway through life and you're still doing this. If you quit or you retire, where do you go from there? What else do you have? Like what, what? Why? I think that's why there's so many fighters come back out of retirement. Like we're about to see Cowboy Cerrone or Jorge Masvidal, right? They come out because what else are they going to do after fighting? This is really their only. This is all they really know how to do in life is fight. So it's kind of like, as
Yep.
fans, yeah, you got to hang it up, but to them, and the way I guess I could compare this to is like being in the military, right? After you've done so many years and so many, eventually you're going to get out, and it's like, man, what's my purpose? You know what I mean? Because you've done it for so long, and that was your life for so long. It's like, so as fans, it's easy for us to be like, man, y'all should just hang it up. It's I think it's time, but looking from their perspective, it's man, this is all they know. This is all they've done since they were kids. So
Yep. That's a good way to put it. And plus, like you said, that becomes their identity. And like you see people, fighters that are like Mike Tyson, right? He has a successful business, he has a podcast, he doesn't need to fight, but just because you have that kind of inner ego, kind of, you just kind of want to come back and prove yourself. It's like a man thing, right? You kind of want to prove yourself a little bit.
exactly. I think that's why we're seeing people like Poirier. That one was supposed to be that was going to be his last one, right? If he won it, if he didn't, it was going to be his last one, and then he's nah. I got one more. You have people like Gaethje who said, "Hey, this is his last run to the title. If he gets knocked out, he's not going to do it again." He gets slept by Holloway, and he says, "No, he's not done. He's so."
Yeah, that's
Yep.
facts. And especially when the weight divisions get like when there's like a champion switch, I think a lot of guys are like, "Oh, maybe I have a chance." They're like one more run. But yeah, I agree.
Especially if you were the champ before and you see all these new people coming up and kind of surpassing you. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
definitely see that.
That and the money. I know a lot of guys are like, there's no more easier money than especially for the vets who get paid a lot more. They're like, there's no way, easier way to get money than fighting because you get that big paycheck
Yeah,
right after the fight.
they know they're already getting this much. It's not going to go any lower, any higher. The only person it's just is Connor, because I mean he's made so much money that I don't even think money is even a focus anymore. So it's almost like, do you really think you're going to become champion again, or But
Yeah, yeah. For Connor, it's definitely an ego thing. That's for sure.
yeah,
I do got some problems. Nah, but I love Connor.
Same, same. Yeah, he's
All right,
making
let's go
way
to
more
the next one.
outside the UFC. That's for sure.
Oh, that's facts.
But again, even for him, the easiest bag is fighting because it's just one huge paycheck versus trying to grind out like a business long term.
exactly.
This next fight we had Evo Aslan, this up and comer knockout specialist, versus another guy that I think it was his first UFC fight, and oh my god, he's gonna be a star. Like he's one of those guys that's like, I'm gonna go for the knockout. If I don't get it, I'll probably get knocked out because this guy just went crazy, like 20 punch combo. I don't know if you guys know Diego Lopez at featherweight, but he did
Yeah,
kind of one of
Yeah.
those where he just threw like 20 punches in a row, not no defense, had him on the cage, and it's been working
I'm
for him.
looking.
So
Yeah,
props to him.
looking at that right now. 28 total strikes, 28 significant strikes.
Oh
That's outrageous.
damn.
It
Which, if
was
I remember correctly, a significant strike is any strike that's not a jab, correct?
yeah, basically,
Not
yeah,
sure
and
about.
other than like maybe like uh I actually, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's some strikes that are like that look kind of like a test, like a I don't like some kicks maybe might not be significant. I don't know how to describe those ones, but yeah, I think you're
You
right.
know what
Most
the
strikes are significant.
even though I didn't watch this fight, this just by you guys saying it that it went down like this, it kind of reminds me of when Vitor Belfort beat Vanderlei Silva.
Oof, yeah,
You guys remember that shit? Do
yes.
Mm.
you watch that, Brandon, or do you
Yeah,
remember that
yeah.
one?
I mean, I know
Hey,
if you just say those two names, I can already picture how that's gonna go. Those guys are both savages.
Yeah, Vitor, like with it right when the fight started, he threw like a 10 punch combination and knocked out Vanderlei like in the first 3 seconds. So I can kind of
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember
imagine
that fight
this
now.
being like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is like that, but is like this guy. I don't know. He's not as explosive, but he just doesn't give a fuck.
Right, right,
It's
right.
kind of funny. It's kind of funny watching him fight. He's kind of lankier, so he just throws him out there. But we'll move on to this Shara Bullet fight, taking on a pretty good Armin Petrosian. Like going into this fight, I think Shara slight 2-1 favorite, but I know a lot of people were. I mean, even I was expecting Armin to give him a good fight, and that's exactly what we saw. I mean, up until the
Yeah,
finish, but I think yeah,
How long did it
Armin.
go?
Second round at the I think the very end, so almost two
yeah. He hit him
rounds.
with a double back fist.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that
saw that
was
one. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
it was
And
disgusting.
it's he was training it during the media day scrum as well. He was practicing that double back fist, so it's something that they had worked on. So I wonder if that's
Yeah,
something they had seen has happened in like the pat. Not obviously the double, but I wonder if that's something that they've seen that after a back fist he tends to drop his left hand. Or
yeah,
yeah, I wonder how that came to fruition. That I don't think that's just something that you just like. If that was something that you just did on the flat thing, we'd see it a lot more. I think that there was something that they saw, and there's a reason that they were practicing it, and that's the way he got knocked out.
yeah.
Right,
So
right.
apparently the story behind it is Shara. I think Shara said this. That's something he's been trying to do forever. He said he's never landed
Oh,
Hmm.
it. He said he's never landed it, like in training or whatever. But he said this time it landed good, and obviously got the knockout. I think for me, in my opinion, that might be knockout of the year just because of how insanely hard that would
Yeah,
be
that was
to knock
pretty.
someone out.
Yeah, it's
I
like
see.
you unlock a new move.
I would agree if Holloway and Gaethje didn't happen this year.
Oh
Oh
yeah, that was a good
yeah,
knockout.
that actually, you're right. That probably trumps it. Yeah, that tops it. This, if that didn't happen, this would be
Oh,
just
for
of
sure.
how outlandish it looked. Like when I watched that live, I was like, "What the?" I was so confused how that happened.
Definitely in the running, though. Definitely got to be in at least got to show up to the award show for that. You know what I mean? 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was great. Just the fact that it was the first one that's ever happened in the UFC, right? That they said.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah. Just that alone, that's got to be just
I
that's
yeah. I know spinning back fist
that's
KOs are
just
super rare in general, and then double spinning
yeah.
back fist, it's crazy.
But it's just man, he's doing all the right stuff to market himself and the way he looks, obviously his eye, and then obviously when you put on a performance like that and a finish like that, man, he's just promoting himself in all the right ways in the octagon. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm
he's only going to go up from there.
pretty
who
sure
do you
he's
guys
like
have him
blind
fight
too.
next?
Like out of one eye, which is
Oh,
crazy.
he is. Yeah, he's blind. Who do you guys have him fight next though?
Oh man, I have to look at the rankings
Ah,
there. What's that, middleweight? Yeah, middleweight.
yeah,
I
middleweight.
know he was calling out Israel Adesanya. That would be a banger.
I know Kamaru Usman called him out. He said, "Hey, don't leave Izzy alone. Me and you can run it."
Oh, he knows
Oh
he
my
has the
god.
wrestling.
Yeah, he knows
So
that's an easy fight for him if he can take him down.
I'm not gonna lie. I know he's 14 now, right?
Yep.
Try Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him and someone like Jack Hermanson going at it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't even mind seeing right here just 14 and 15 him and Michael Pereira. I think that'd be a
Oh yeah.
crazy fight. I
Him and
think that'd
Paulo
be a
Costa.
sick fight. Yeah, him and Paulo Costa. Anybody that has that type of that is going to bring that not just a fight but like that entertainment value to it, like Paulo Costa, Michael
Yeah.
Pereira. Pereira's going to be doing his
Hmm.
fancy flying. Somebody's going to probably get knocked out, and it's going to be in spectacular fashion. Same with Paulo Costa. He's going to be. Although Costa's coming off that Strickland fight, right? That was his last fight.
Yeah, that
Think
loss.
so. That
Yeah,
sounds
so I don't know.
correct.
I don't know if he would want to take that. An
Well, that
up
was
That'd
a
and
be
good one
comer, and
perfect.
too.
just
That'd be perfect
it,
for
it.
Shara because he has the name Paulo does, and then he would, like you said, he brings the fight, and if he could like knock him out in spectacular fashion, that would like catapult him to like higher rankings right away.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's on the
Yeah,
money.
it's tough for Shara because there's so many good fights, but it's like how high do you want to push him? Like, do they want to give
Exactly,
him a
because the
low guy, or do they just want to push him right up there in the middle or
exit.
high?
Yeah. Now, let's just for hypothetical reasons, let's say he gets all the way up. How do you think a fight in the future of him and Chimaev goes?
Oh
Oh my
damn!
god. I think it's first round submission for Chimaev, to be honest.
You think so?
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, just what he did to Whittaker, man. I mean, a guy
That's
that's
true. Yeah, they got a
super.
similar stance and like movement style, huh? Him
Oh
and
yeah,
Whittaker.
him and Whittaker would be a banger.
Yeah, Whitaker's going to be out for a while, over a year at
Yeah,
least. I don't see him
yeah,
fighting in at all in 2025.
Brandon was
yeah,
just saying that he should retire.
yeah,
Bro, I don't ever see him getting the title again. If you look at the names in the middleweight division, I just don't see him beating a number of these guys. I just, I mean, do you see him beating? If like, let's see, Drake is Strickland, Adesanya's already beaten twice,
right.
Chimaev, like there's already the first one, two, three, four in front of him. I mean, I just
Yeah,
Shit, I
he's gonna
would
have to
look.
fight
I
down.
wouldn't mind. if Chimaev skipped Strickland and Whittaker fought Sean, I feel like that would be like a fan friendly fight. But then again, Whittaker has to recover from that.
Whittaker has to recover. Sean said it's already written. He's next for the title shot, and Chimaev's got to wait. Which who would y'all rather see, Chimaev and Strickland, or I'm sorry, Chimaev and DDP, or DDP and Strickland again?
Um, Dude, that's tough.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Chimaev just because I feel like Chimaev has a good chance to to take out DDP. 'Cause I don't mind DDP, but I kind of want to see him lose, low-key.
For
So
real.
I
Although
think,
I would
yeah.
say strength wise in the division, he's probably strength wise, as in like obviously Chimaev just manhandles these dudes. Do you think DDP has that physical capacity or capability to, withstand Chimaev's?
Uh,
I don't know. DDP's just like well rounded. He's like the most well rounded out of the top three, right? Sean is predominantly striker, same as Izzy, and Kamzat is predominantly wrestling. But I don't know. Wrestlers have that wrestling strength.
yeah. It's like Hamzat's way of like I said this earlier in the other podcast, like Hamzat's got that style where it's like he's just stuck on you. Even if you get out, he'll just grab another leg and he'll just grind you. It's like, so yeah, it makes it tough to picture how that one goes, especially because DDP doesn't usually get grappled. It's usually him doing the grappling. So that would actually be stylistically a fun one because we don't know what would happen versus, Sean versus DDP already happened. So I think we kind of know how that one goes. Probably mostly striking with a little bit of grappling. But
Yeah.
just in terms of like not knowing what to expect, I think Chimaev versus DDP would be a very interesting fight because we don't know exactly what DDP can bring in terms of the wrestling defense. And if he does stuff the defense, then that makes the fight even more interesting because then we have to see Hamzat kind of fight more uncomfortably and kind of risk the striking.
Dude, DDP has a like nastiest, ugliest style I've ever seen in the
Oh my
UFC.
god, dude! It literally
It's
Right,
looks.
so
recent times,
disgusting.
recent times at least.
It just looks like he doesn't think when he's striking. It just looks like he's just throwing shit out there and hoping it sticks on the wall. But it
Yeah.
works somehow. Like it looks like he's just gassed out, dead tired every round, but he just never
Yeah.
stops and never quits. And he's always got power, which is kind of scary if you're
Yeah.
fighting him.
It's a it's effective for sure, yeah. All
Let's
right,
go
yeah.
on to this
To
next
the next.
one. LeBron Murphy versus Dan Ige. This one was really fun as well. Um,
And
so
50K gay.
I know Lerone Murphy's good, but he's a lot better than I thought he was. Like this dude's got crazy athleticism. Like when I saw him walk out, you can kind of see in this picture he's extremely lean. Like I was like, damn, this guy almost looks too skinny because it looked like he didn't put any weight back on. But now that I look at his profile picture, I think that's just how he's built. Like his genetics are just crazy. Um, but yeah, super athletic. He came out kind of dominated the first round, but not entirely. Oh wait, no, that was the second round. The first round, it was he was dominating it, and then Ige dropped him with like a right hand or something like that, a really good counter punch, and he had Lerone pretty badly hurt. I mean, not like anywhere near finish, but he dropped him right away off one punch, and then Lerone surprised me because in round two he came out just blasting and dominated that round. You can kind of see the striking differential here, mixed in a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the third round, kind of similar thing. So yeah, we saw LeBron win, but it was still a close fight. But I'm excited to see LeBron probably fight. Honestly, probably fight for the title soon. He's super super good. Where's
What
that
was you ranked?
featherweight? Um, he was
11?
ranked 11. I think he was 12. But the way he looked, he looks ready. Like him versus Ilia would be actually a really fun fight. because Lerone got a chin, super explosive, super athletic. He was mixing in all kinds of strikes. I didn't know he was him like that. Like he's super good. But yeah,
I'm not familiar with that guy.
watch out for him. If you see him on a card, you got to tune in for that. He's actually like he impressed me. I'm a Lerone fan now because I was a huge Dan Ige fan, but yeah. So this is kind of where I think everyone was on the same page. I think we all kind of saw some of this fight. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. What do you guys think about this fight?
I barely tuned in to like the last 15 seconds, and it seemed boring as hell to me. But I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Nah, he said he wasn't going to shoot for a takedown. And they kept it pretty much striking. And once that left hand started landing, is when I kind of started realizing, like, oh yeah, this is the first round. I say I wouldn't have given it to Ankalaev. Like I would have just played devil's advocate. But the last two, he started pushing the pressure, landing that left hand, and then once he started landing it, man, it was you could tell. How do you say Rakic? That's how you say it, right? Rakic.
Yeah, like Rakic.
Yeah. Once you could tell, he started seeing in the stomach, started breathing heavy. He was doing a lot of movement. He was doing a lot of the right things, but he kept getting hit with that left hand, kept getting hit, keeps up the middle, and he was there to get hit, and he was getting hit. And I think him doing all that movement was tiring him out little by little, and then obviously getting touched up wasn't helping. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that first round was close, and then Magomed started to pull away. I mean, the strikes were pretty close the second round, and then the third round especially. It was mostly Magomed chasing him down. But I mean, what do you think about Magomed's power? Do you think he really has like knockout power? Or do you think he's kind of like a striker that's not really willing to is more trying to outstrike you, but not really trying to like commit fully and really try to finish the guy? What do you think about his power?
I don't think his power is fully there. I don't think he's pulling the trigger like that. I don't think he's a Topuria where everything's very tight and everything's very, very technical, very, very, you're sitting on your punches, boom, sitting down on them. I think it's more of like if you're going to take it in boxing terms, a lot more like a Devin Haney where he's just trying to touch you, boom, 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 rack up those points. Eventually, shoot for a takedown. But he's not necessarily there just trying to knock you out. I don't think he has that. I don't want to say he doesn't have that power because obviously, at that weight class, I think anybody has that power. But I don't think he's intending to sit on his punches as much as a lot of the other light heavyweights are. Like I don't know how. Who's what's his name? Why am I forgetting the name?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Alex Pereira is the champ. Alex
Yeah.
Pereira is light heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't know if I could see. I don't know if I could see Ankalaev sitting down Pereira the way who did Roundtree just sat him down. You know what I mean? Even though it was a flash knockdown is more of the wrist. I don't think we'd see that in a fight with Ankalaev and Pereira at all.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like going into this fight, I was expecting Magomed to try to finish Rakic, but it just did not seem like Magomed was really there trying to end the fight, which I was really disappointed with because I mean we've seen Rakic, he just got knocked out by Yuri, and I mean Yuri's a good striker, but he's not like crazy good. I mean he's good, but you know what I mean, like he's not the most technical guy.
He's very unorthodox and very
and like even he finished Rakic, so like this whole thing with Magomed saying Pereira is running from him, he's dodging him. Like, okay, if you're gonna say that, at least the least you could do is try to knock out Rakic, and we didn't see that, so I was pretty disappointed. What do you think about Magomed saying Pereira is ducking and dodging? Do you think Pereira is scared of him?
I don't think Pereira is scared of anybody. I think he would take on John Jones if he was given the chance. He wants to go down and fight DDP at 185. I think he really doesn't care, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's just he's trying to build the fight. He's trying to cause. It's all about moments, right? So when you look at the UFC countdowns and stuff, they're taking bits and pieces of its moment. So like, if we take when Aldo beat Henry Cejudo, right, and then Sean walked into the octagon and he talked to Aldo, and he had been thinking about what he's going to say because it's that moment that's going to be clipped and put on the next. You know what I mean? So it's just he's just trying to cause anything to stir up and cause just that moment,
Yeah.
so that when if the fight does come to fruition, it builds more hype, builds more because they're trying to sell a fight as well. So you don't want it to just be like, oh, I want to fight Pereira, and then you have to be like, man, he's ducking me, and I'm gonna whoop his.
Yeah,
So
that's facts. What do you guys think do you think Magomed shoots it? So he didn't shoot any takedowns. Do you think he shoots a takedown on Pereira?
yes,
I think he is, yeah, instinctually. I think that's where when you're getting hurt, you kind of go back to your instincts. And I don't think his striking is good. People are saying that his striking is good. I don't think it's not that he doesn't have power, it's that he doesn't know how to set up anything, you know? Like he was trying to catch Rakic the whole fight. Yeah, he was complaining about that at the end of the fight. But from what I saw, he wasn't able to string together anything. But
Yeah, I think it's the
yeah, if he were
distance.
to
Go ahead.
yeah, if he were to I was just gonna say if he were to fight Pereira, he would go back to his instincts 100%.
Yeah, I think the distance management would just be a huge gap between Pereira and Ankalaev because it's like we saw Magomed try to chase down Rakic and like he was throwing a lot of punches and he was catching them on the end, but they were like not flush. Whereas Pereira knows how to inch his way forward and really catch you flush and put everything into those punches. So I think if they fought, I think Pereira would have a very I don't know I don't want to say easy, but a pretty good time with the distance management there.
yeah, I agree.
I think these wrestlers they just strike kind of to set up their takedowns, right? It's part of their system that they use. They're not used to controlling distance for a full 5 rounds or 3 rounds or whatever. It's different the way
Yeah,
they systematically train their striking for takedowns as a complete system.
that's facts. That's facts. Now that's a
Oh,
good
dude, I was
segue into this
uh
next
huh.
fight.
Yeah.
Chimaev versus Whittaker. And we got, classic striker versus wrestler matchup. Um, and we kind of talked about in the last podcast whether I thought personally this fight would go however Hamzat decided it would go, which is he's either going to shoot a takedown in the first 10 seconds and make it the kind of fight it turned out to be, or he would roll the dice. And yeah, that's not what we saw. I don't think Hamzat's interested in rolling the dice at all. I mean, we saw him do it against Gilbert Burns, and it didn't end well. I mean, he still won, but he was getting clapped. But yeah. So
Oh yeah. We were banking on that and also on how Robert would defend the wrestling, and of course
oh
we
yeah.
saw the how that ended. But what did you think, Enrique, about the fight and the
Well,
finish?
I wanted to ask. I've been hearing this a lot. Do y'all agree with the fact that a lot of people are saying that Chimaev looked a lot calmer? He looked not as crazy Khamzat as we've seen in the past, or he's just this. I want to kill everybody. Like do you think we saw a calmer Khamzat, or do you think people are just saying that because throughout the press week he was a lot more soft spoken, a lot more respectful? And do you think they just took that into the fight, or do you think in the fight he was actually a lot more, not a lot more, but a little more restraint, not so quick to like the Kevin Holland fight where he just went in and.
Nah, in the fight he was like he always is. In the outside his demeanor, that was definitely different. But I don't know if you agree with me, Brandon. Like he fought exactly how he fights. He shot for the takedown from hella far away right away, and like grinded him out till he tapped him pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely see before the fight he was a lot more reserved. It seemed like he didn't really even care to entertain the fans too much. And then, yeah, during the fight, it looked like he was just trying to get the job done quick for whatever reason. I mean, I think he knows Whittaker's got tons of experience, and I don't think he also wanted to go 5 rounds because I mean I don't think we've ever seen him really go 5 rounds if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, in the fight
Mm-mm.
he fought exactly how I expected him to fight, just straight for the takedown. And then like we were saying earlier on the other podcast, against the cage was going to be him all day. I mean, even if the cage would be an advantage for Whittaker to get up, we saw that Hamza was always there, one step ahead of him, and he was able to hold him down there still. Um, but yeah, quick sub by him. Man, what do you guys think about that? Did you guys see the picture of his mouth, Whittaker's mouth?
Yes,
Oh, dude, that was fucking
I
that was
brutal.
thought.
gnarly.
Well, now that you told me that Whitaker had had issues with that in the past, he had a fractured like chin or whatever. That makes a lot more sense how fast it happened.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's still pretty crazy.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he said his teeth had been loose, and I guess now it gives him a reason to get them fixed. He was joking, but I mean, yeah, that squeeze was gnarly, and yeah, you look at the picture, is
dude, just
man.
that's just brutal. I don't know what he's gonna do. Like maybe he has to get like a top and bottom mouth guard or something, like something to hold those teeth in. Because now that that's been exposed, I think every time Whittaker fights, it's gonna be a
He needs to
leap in
get a
his
metal
game.
plate. He needs to
Yeah,
get a metal plate that holds the jaw together, the
yeah,
chin.
yeah. It sucks for Whittaker, man. I don't know what's left for him
So,
after that, but
so the winner of Drake and Sean comes out straight to them. Then that's what we're gonna see.
yeah, I think looking
I
at
think
their
it
rankings,
comes out to the next fight. Yeah, is either Strickland or DDP, whoever's the winner of that fight.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's the move for sure.
hmm And I mean, especially in the past, we've seen Hamza have tons of trouble like making it to the fight, whether it's like he gets sick or whatnot. So I don't think he's gonna risk taking an in between fight. I think he probably just sits out till that title shot.
Apparently, yeah, apparently he has like a dietitian and like 3 doctors working with him now, like telling him how to train and shit.
Yeah, I
I
heard
don't
he
know.
just grinds so hard that his body apparently just gives out. I guess just gets so sick.
Yeah, he has like immune system issues or whatever.
Yeah.
That yeah, I heard he also has long term. He had long term effects from when he got COVID in 2020,
Mm.
Yeah,
where he
that's
was
true.
hospitalized. So supposedly he's had long term effects from that. But
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think he almost retired from it or something like that.
You know who had similar issues? That other Russian kid that was sick, um, that looked like Abraham Lincoln, was that
Albazi?
threw all
uh,
those crazy kicks. The beat,
yeah, Zabit.
Magomed Sharipov
yeah,
or
dude,
whatever.
he was sick, bro. Yeah, I missed that dude.
That guy was a
He was so good.
savage.
He
Yeah,
had so much
but
potential.
yeah, he could have been. I don't know if he would have been champ, but he could have been fighting like Max Holloway, that other guy, Yair Rodriguez. Oh, I think he did fight Yair. I think he might have won that one. I'm not sure, but yeah, he had a lot of exciting matchups ahead of him, but just one or two fights too early, he had to retire.
Yeah, but dude, what a fight! This one, it's probably my most anticipated fight of the year. It was a
Yeah.
banger. It
Uh,
went exactly how I thought it was gonna go, but I'll let you guys discuss this a little bit.
so I originally had, yeah, I had Topuria as the favorite, but then I also was looking at Max as like super experienced. I thought his chin was valid, like he has one of the best chins in the UFC. Um, I thought he would stick and move, take Topuria's punches well, which is exactly what we saw for those first two and into the third round.
Yeah,
Um, I thought Max looked really good. I mean, I saw the betting lines. Like, I think Max was actually a favorite after round two, even though I think I saw the scorecards had Topuria winning, but I actually had Max ahead just because he was like, I mean, that's probably just because of the bias. Like, I thought Topuria was the favorite, so I was leaning towards the dog when I was seeing Max Holloway have a lot of success. But man,
uh huh.
Max looked really good those first 2 rounds, and then the third round, he got caught by that right hand, I think it was, when he was like taking a step back. He just had his chin up too high, kind of let his guard down a little bit. And
Wait,
then
actually, before we get into that, I want to ask Enrique what he thought, who he thought would have won before the fight actually happened. Did
oh
you have
he
Topuria or Max winning before the fight?
So before the fight happened, here's the thing. I have the same fighting style as Topuria in the sense of I'm real boxing heavy, right? I don't necessarily throw kicks except maybe teeps up the middle, but I'm very boxing heavy. So I've been watching Topuria since before he was in the UFC. I'm a huge Topuria fan. I've seen every single one of his professional fights. Huge fan. So I love Max Holloway, but I don't like when people go up and then come back down in weight classes, right? He went up to 155, and we see how he looked. He looked great after, obviously, the Dustin Poirier fight. He looked completely different than he did the Justin Gaethje fight. However, that Dustin Poirier fight was a big. I looked at the Dustin Poirier fight when he went up to 155 as what we were going to see with this fight. And Dustin Poirier boxed Max Holloway's head off, right? Now, I don't. Maybe Dustin Poirier doesn't have the same. Maybe at 155, his chin is a lot more intact, and Dustin just couldn't, But I looked at that fight and pretty much figured what was going to happen. That fight was going to happen this fight. Does that make sense? As in, like I said, Dustin Poirier boxed his head off. Ilia Topuria is one of the most skilled boxers in the UFC. He's shown it, numerous times. Obviously, he was a submission artist before he started knocking people out. He had like 8 submissions before he even had his first knockout, if I remember correctly. But he's obviously grown. He's developed in his boxing capabilities, and I in my heart I wanted Ilia to win, but I wanted it to be by something like decision. I didn't want to see Max Holloway get knocked out, but I did think that Ilia Topuria was going to win. I did not think Max Holloway was going to be able to beat him. I know MMA math doesn't always work, but we see how he did against Volk, who is a pretty, boxing based as well. He didn't do too much grappling against Max, right? So he was a lot more leg kicks and boxing as well. See how he did against that. So I just, and then you look at how he did against Poirier, who's also very boxing heavy, and people look at the fight. People look at the fight with him and Calvin Kattar, and they're like, "Well, look at that." But I now look at where Calvin Kattar's at. He's not at that level. When Max Holloway is going against boxing heavy people at this level, he just hasn't risen to that occasion.
Dude, that's a great observation. So this is from what you just said. This is what I gathered. Topuria has the footwork of Volkanovski to cut off the range. He has the power of Poirier, but he has like a whole different ability of finishing and grappling that like make him even more dangerous than those two combined. So yeah, I think those are the reasons why he beat Max, of course, because he's like way too complete and his finishing skills were too good. But yeah, what were you saying, Brandon? We're going back to round 3 for the finishing sequences.
Yeah, I was gonna, I can't remember, but I think you Enrique brought up a good point. Like, I didn't like this fight either for Max. I didn't think it made that much sense, other than it's a title shot, so he can't turn it down. But he just looked his body looked completely different from 55. Like, he looked super skinny. His chin's obviously gonna be a lot worse, cutting all that weight, not being able to rehydrate to a proper weight. And yeah, he did not look good physically. But yeah, I don't think, maybe even if it happened at 55, I think that same shot would probably put him down. But I think the recovery would have been a lot better, because that right hand that hurt him, I thought he recovered pretty well. But then obviously he kind of did not fight. I guess it's hard to say because he's probably still hurt, but he just not really smart. Like, he dropped his hands, went for a knee, which is probably not a good idea against Topuria, especially when you're hurt. And yeah, it was just tough to see. Stylistically, obviously not that good of a fight or matchup for Max. Like you said, the Dustin Poirier fight, similar styles. And then yeah, cutting down to 45 just makes it that much worse. I think Max needs to stay at 55. Obviously now, after the fact, but even before this fight, I didn't like it either. Um, but yeah, what do you guys think is next for Topuria now that he's defeated the two best guys and with knockout fashion? Do you think he has the potential to possibly beat like an Islam?
Well, I would love to see that, but of course he already agreed to fight to rematch Volkanovski, so we're gonna have to wait for that Islam.
True.
Not even all right. He did agree to. I don't think the UFC is going to allow him to move up because for two reasons. One, you have Diego Lopez, who they just said your next fight's going to
Mm,
be a title shot. I already told him, Diego Lopez, he's stubborn. He's not going to take another fight. Unless it's for something like an interim belt, I don't see Diego Lopez taking another fight that's not a title shot, right? So you have him on the sidelines as well. He was in the stands. They obviously called his name out in the post-fight press conference. So you have Volk, then you have Diego Lopez. Besides that, if Islam, I think his next fight's supposed to be Armin Tsutsukian, right? And
Yeah.
Dana said if he gets through him, he'll allow him to move up to try and get that second belt. So I think there's those two. There's those two instances which I would love to see Topuria and Islam, but I think that there's two more fights for each of those guys before we see it.
All right, so let's say that Topuria has to fight Diego next. Not Volkanovski, because we already seen that fight. How do you guys think Topuria versus Diego Lopez would look like?
I'll let Enrique go first.
Man, that's a fight I would love to see for the fact stylistically, I don't think this fight would be standing as much as people think. I think this is where we'd see Topuria's grappling because Diego Lopez can crack, right? We saw that against somebody like Brian Ortega. And obviously Brian Ortega doesn't have the boxing fundamentals anywhere near Ilia Topuria, but Brian Ortega has a chin. And off that first right hand, that he was already asleep. That left hand is what woke him up, right?
Yeah.
So Diego Lopez has power in his hands. He's shown it before. I think this is where we'll see more of Topuria's grappling base, right? I think he'll go back to the takedowns, the jiu-jitsu, maybe the ground and pound, but we'll see a lot more of trying to do what he did to Bryce Mitchell on the ground, right? And I don't think that fight will be as much stand-up as we think it will be. I think it'll be a lot more jiu-jitsu based, grappling based, especially once they feel each other's power. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe Ilya feels his power and he's like, I can eat that, and gets on the inside and he cracks Diego Lopez. But I just think Diego Lopez's his length, his he's not as fast, but he can crack. But I still think Ilya wins that fight. I just think we see a little more grappling from him off of that one.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Brandon?
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I mean, that fight, I think it's kind of on Diego, honestly, because I think Ilya is comfortable with just standing up, and then I think it depends on what Diego does, because Diego's first rounds are always he does the same thing every fight. He just goes in blasting. So I think that's why I would like to see this over the Volkanovski fight, because at least we'll see like one crazy round, and then probably Diego probably slows down, and honestly I could see Ilya putting out his lights. I mean, after seeing what he did to Max, I just see Diego going hard for one round, and then the second round maybe trying to bring that same power, and then it's just not going to affect Ilya once Ilya sees everything he has. And then if he doesn't mix in the grappling, like you said, because if it's a grappling match, it's going to be a really fun, exciting, maybe a 5 rounder. But if Diego can't get him to the ground, and Ilya is fine with standing, and Ilya doesn't initiate any grappling, I think Ilya probably sleeps Diego. But I'm a huge Diego fan, so it's hard to say that. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah, I
just
like
think Ilya is
Diego.
too crisp.
I think if Diego comes out swinging, Diego does have power, but he's still pretty green when it comes to throwing hands, and he usually like gets in clinch distance where he like hurts people or he kind of comes a little wild, and I think Ilia would definitely counter those to get inside and probably sleep him if Diego comes wild like he usually does. So if Diego wants to do something good, he'd probably like feel his power and then try to like go for a takedown right away. But other than
Yeah.
that, I think that he could get slapped like right away.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think it's like I think it goes kind of like the Max knockout, but I think it's going to be Diego blitzing Ilia, Ilia catching him, and then Diego kind of gets knocked off balance. He doesn't go down, but he's stumbling around, and then he's the same thing with Max, where he's kind of hurt and then makes a mistake, and then Ilia probably puts him out. Unfortunately, that's how I see it going.
Just because he's not as sophisticated, you know. Like Max has a little sophistication where he can move a little bit, and
Yeah.
even with his length and like defense, he was
Mhm.
still not able to get away from the finishing sequences. But yeah,
If it
I
is
don't
a
know though.
grappling
Maybe
match,
the
though, that's
that'd be
interesting. I
sick if
don't.
it was,
Yeah.
but I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, they both come out banging, right?
Yeah. Because I'm curious
Question,
if.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So Ilya has that Connor confidence right now, right? He has that. He's knocking everybody out, or he's submitting. He's finishing everybody. He's undefeated, right?
Mhm.
He's obviously the champion. He has two goats underneath his belt. Now Connor's obvious. Kryptonite was first. You have the wrestling or the grappling of Nate Diaz, then you have the grappling of Khabib. Then slowly but surely it just went downhill from there. Do you see any signs of a kryptonite for Ilia Topuria? Now, before like y'all answered, the one thing I do see is he does get hit. Now, he's not getting hit by a hard. You have Max Holloway, you have Alexander Volkanovski. He's not getting hit by these knockout specialists, but he is getting hit. And Max did land. He did land. You saw Ilya's face at the end; it was red.
Mhm.
Obviously, Max, besides these last two, you have the last two fights he's had where he's obviously, put him to sleep. Besides that, Max isn't known to just be starching people, right? But Volk isn't known to just be starching people.
Mhm.
The only thing I've seen so far is Ilya. He does get touched up quite a bit. Do you see any at this point? Do you see any visible kryptonite that could, you know, in Connor's obviously it was the wrestling, the grappling of you have Khabib, you have Nate, and the first fight. Do you see anything from Ilya?
If he was just to strike with people, I mean, the reason why he was getting touched up was because of the reach advantage, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it was gonna get touched up because like when you're boxing someone that's way taller than you, you have to be consistently moving to not get touched, and that's of course not us. You're gonna get tired from just
Mm-hmm.
moving all the time, and you're not gonna be able to get off if you're moving all the time. So as a short boxer, you kind of gotta get touched up a little bit, even if it's just the jabs, kind of like Canelo does. And then when they go for if you're sharp enough, if they go for like a good shot, then you're able to see that coming and counter that, and that's kind of Ilya's style. From that perspective, at 45, I don't see anybody that could fuck with Ilya. And even going up 55, I don't see anybody that's sharp enough and has power to fuck with Ilya. Let me see the 155. H.E. Poirier, Chandler. The only person that has the educated boxing that could and is longer is someone that has like the power and precision of Connor and his speed.
He did
But
call him out. He said, "Call me."
Ilya, but Ilya would counter that with his wrestling. Of course, he has amazing Greco-Roman wrestling. So even where I could see like a great striker, bigger man, because Ilya's a great striker, little man. A great striker, bigger man is gonna be the great striker, little man, right? But I don't see anybody that's on his level. And then if there were somebody on his level, that was just a striker, Ilia would counter that with his grappling and wrestling. So that's where he kind of like is so confident that no matter what, he kind of has an ace up his sleeve to counter any deficit. Or what do you guys think? What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, just if I'm looking at him as a fighter, I don't think he has any gaps in his game. But if I'm looking at potential matchups that don't favor him on the feet, I'm looking at Yair and I'm looking at Lerone. Guys that are super explosive, super quick, and can mix up the strikes really well. I think kicks will probably play a good factor in a potential matchup like Yair, because he obviously favors the hands, right? He's a really good boxer. But if I'm looking at just the striking, obviously Ilia could take him down, do whatever. But I think Yair low key could be someone that hurts Ilia. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I think the Taekwondo kicks from Yair coming straight up, roundhouse kick to the face. I think that could be something that will give Ilia problems. And then also Lerone's looking really good as well. So there is some good matchups, but it's like the gaps are really hard to fill because of the way that Ilia can just mix it up. So if he's getting outstruck, which isn't going to be very likely, but if he does, then he'll just go for the grappling, which is obviously he's
And
probably
like,
even better at grappling than the striking in some ways.
yeah, and like when I see his style of striking, it's kind of like tech, right? He's letting himself get touched because he's shorter range, and he knows that once he gets inside, he's gonna get way more value out of whatever he throws than what the other opponent is throwing. And that's why like when you're shorter and you're trying to preserve energy and just kind of set traps, you let people kind of touch you a little bit to give them a false sense of, you know, that they're not in danger, and then you
Hmm.
can let go of your combinations.
Yeah, it's got to be someone that can fight in and out, but also someone that can be just as good on the inside, which I do kind of see in Yair, right? Yair can throw stuff like roundhouse from inside, which is like super good against someone like Ilya who likes to close that distance and is happy to exchange, really set on his punches, right? So I think low key for anyone listening, watch out for this Yair matchup. I don't know if he'll get that fight because he kind of has been having a rough streak here, these two losses. But stylistically, on the feet, that might be the most exciting that I'm looking at on this list of featherweights.
Do
Because
you
I think
do
he
you
would
I
get
think
don't,
that
slapped.
even after seeing the Volk fight?
I think he would get slapped because
you know,
his defense
yeah.
sucks.
I mean, yeah, like I just think that like the
I know what you're
standard
trying to
strike,
say.
yeah, like the
Yeah,
standard
that like he
striking
has
is just
good
not going to
setups.
be it versus Ilya. It's got to be somebody with some unorthodox shit that just catches Ilya when he's not ready. Cuz like Volk,
Kind of
pretty
like
standard
Herbert
striker.
on him.
Yeah, like Max, pretty standard striker. Diego's pretty unorthodox, but that he won't really get away with too much. But Yair is really creative and he'll throw like a spinning back kick and like a inside roundhouse, and then he'll throw it up to the top, question mark. Like he's just got so many different tools that could be the only thing that trips up Ilya.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
tried to catch him up the middle, kind of like Herbert did. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, eh, that's like a one lucky punch versus like a whole systematic approach from Ilya.
Right,
I
right.
would
I'm
give
not
you a
saying,
year.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I know what you mean though. Yeah, like he would probably pose like more of a danger because of his unorthodox style than like a standard striker for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But what
Yeah,
about
that'd be
go ahead.
it's just it's it's crazy to think that we had the huge run by Max, we had the huge run by Volk, and now it looks like Ilya is going to be on that same trajectory. I wonder. Obviously, he said he's the new age of mixed martial arts. It's just where he's already beaten two legends. He's already cemented himself as one of the top featherweights. I just where he could go from here is beyond. I think he's it sucks because obviously he is, Spanish speaking. So a lot of people think, when he says certain things, it is cringy. And I think it's just the language barrier right there. He's trying to obviously, make do with what he can. But I think he has the ability to become one of the next Pereiras of the UFC, one of the next superstars, and just kind of blow up if he keeps on going on the trajectory he's going on.
100%. He's
Yeah.
gonna be on top for a while. I mean, just like you
He's
said,
young. Yeah, he's
yeah.
young.
I think the only way he gets beat is probably by like some freak knockout, like I was saying. I don't think anyone's gonna beat him any other way, really. There's not that many gaps in his game. I mean, that's how we see it in MMA. Like Volk, he had no gaps, right? Like he's just super well rounded, and then out of nowhere gets knocked out by Islam and then by Topuria. So it's like that's how usually
Look,
how it ends is by a crazy
yeah.
knockout.
Well, Volk was a super complete guy, and he only got beat by a bigger, stronger complete guy, and another complete guy that had more power than him. So they were all really complete, but those other two had like little edges over him.
True. And then yeah, if he
Yeah,
moves up to
dude, hell of a
lightweight, then it's kind of a different story because, like you said, then the size disadvantage and then poses different weaknesses. But yeah, I mean, if he stays at featherweight, he's probably gonna stay on top for a while.
Yeah, it's because Makachev is super big, dude. He's huge.
Yeah, it's like if he fought Makhachev, it'd be basically be fighting like a welterweight.
Hey, but Volk did good that first fight. So I would definitely want to see him versus Ilia. That'd be a good fight. That'd be
Same.
the fan favorite fight. What the fans want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, you just do not know how that fight goes. I can't see how that one goes. It's just it would be like that first Volk fight where they're just back and forth all over the cage, like covering the entire octagon, doing everything, striking, grappling, wrestling, all that stuff.
Yeah, that would really test Ilia's wrestling abilities.
I
100%.
wonder if it would be like do y'all remember the last minute of the first round of the Bryce Mitchell fight where Bryce Mitchell took him down and he was on top of him for that entire minute?
I've only seen clips of it. I think I never really saw that fight completely.
All right, if you rewatch that fight, Bryce Mitchell takes him down. He gets him down one time. Now Ilya was sprawling, sprawling, sprawling. He had a lower stance. He was gonna. Bryce Mitchell's whole game plan is to take you down. So lower stance. He's squatting a lot of the time, and he's stuffing a lot of these takedowns. But for the last minute, when he did get taken down, Bryce Mitchell did have that entire minute and a half. Bryce Mitchell had the entire control time. He did, took him down, controlled him. Do you think? And obviously Bryce Mitchell is 145. Coming off of the flu, if he could hold, do you think Ilya just kind of accepted that position, or do you think that's kind of a foreshadow of what an Islam fight would look like? Islam would take him down and being the bigger guy naturally.
Mm. Personally,
Yeah,
I never really saw Ilya's. I started watching Ilya once he started getting knockouts, so I really don't know. I've never seen his wrestling. I mean, besides when he mixes it up here and there, I never really seen his wrestling game. But I know like he's trained with Chimaev, and Chimaev is of course big as fuck. And he trained with Kamaru Usman too. So I don't know.
yeah. I think
Yeah, I
it's
don't
hard to
know.
say because like I guess he was obviously in the defensive position, so he's obviously very good in the offensive positions, but I mean, like we've seen it with Islam. Like Volk was on top of him, and then it's kind of like I guess they just give up the position, and it's like I don't know. It's hard to say off of that one exchange, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, seeing
You
two.
also gotta think about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you also can see like when the first Volkanovski fight with Islam, like Islam, he was controlling Volkanovski, but he was never able to like finish him or submit him. And
Yeah,
maybe Topuria is better than Volkanovski at wrestling. Like Topuria, I don't know much about his wrestling, but I know that he's been wrestling since he was like 3, 4 years old.
Yeah, I think him and his brother are like first belts in Georgia or something like that. They're the first something in Georgia. I know that.
They're the
I know.
first black belt in jiu-jitsu, but they were also wrestling way before that too.
Yeah, and both Germany and Spain. Man, I'm hype. I'm just hype. I'm a huge Ilia fan. If y'all go on YouTube, there's a whole hour plus YouTube video, and it shows every single one of his fights. I think before the Volk fight. Obviously, we know what's happened after that, but it shows every one of his professional fights. So if you ever wanted to get a lot of his first wins, most of his first wins were by submission. So if you're ever trying to look into that, yeah, there's a YouTube video shows every single one of his professional fights, and before Vulcan, it's he is that guy right now. That it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. You know, hopefully it's not a Connor 2.0. You know, hopefully that's not where it is and where it leads. You know, he all the confidence in the world. He does everything he says he's going to do, and we've seen it before. Hopefully, it just goes in the right direction this time.
He's already got that Dolce
Yeah.
and Gabbana sponsorship, so I mean, he's
Mhm.
Damn, he's
he
smooth
might
like
be
that.
following.
Then.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think we covered pretty much everything for this one. It was a great podcast. Thank you for coming, Enrique. Um,
Of course.
Obviously know tons
Thank you for
about
having me.
MMA. Yeah, for sure. Anytime, you're always
Yeah.
welcome to come back. If there's anything else you ever want to share about kind of your background, your story, you could for sure come back on and dive a little bit more into it. But for today, I think we got
Yeah.
hit all the bases. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
Enrique's my barber. Hit him up for a fresh cut.
Oh yeah, go ahead and plug yourself
Yeah,
if you want.
hey, for sure. Slide through a Uproar Barbershop, on 95th in Peoria. Anybody in the shop gets down, man. But yeah, definitely slide through. Come get a cut.
All right, you heard it
It's pure
here.
Arizona, by the way.
Yes, sir. Peoria, Arizona. Follow me on Instagram, Enrique. Period. Kiki Kiki. Period. Kennedy. Follow me on Instagram. Hit me up, and I'll take care of you.
Yes,
We'll put that
sir.
in the description as well for anyone interested. Definitely go hit them up. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. We out.